Well, dear friends, it's a long time since I've had the opportunity of seeing you, and I had to stay in the chamber because we've just had a vote, so I couldn't get here any sooner. I'm afraid I have to go almost immediately. This is one of the problems of being part of government. Could I just say how utterly appalled I have been by the stories coming out of Camp Ashraf. The international community has a duty to make sure that the residents of Ashraf, if they have to leave, and like our distinguished previous speaker, I wonder why that has to be, that the international community has got to act to stop the aggression of the Iraqi government. It is unacceptable, and we must keep the pressure up. Let's not forget that a number of them have been brutally murdered by Iraqis under the rule of Iran. And it is the Iranians to whom we turn to say, stop this. Stop it now. And stop the Iraqis moving on the peaceful people in Camp Ashraf. All they want to do is ensure freedom for their people in Iran. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a very brief intervention from me, but could I send my thoughts, my prayers, and my best of wishes to the people of Camp Ashraf, and we will be keeping a very, very close eye on what you're doing. I have written to the American President. I'm sure all you good people have done the same. I do hope that America will lend its strength and its democratic sense of duty to innocent people who need their help at this time. So my good wishes to all of you, to good friends who I've made over the years, and let's keep the pressure on Camp Ashraf.
To say that I'm very grateful to be asked to come along to speak today. And it's good to see so many people, particularly some people here who have been persistent and long-term supporters of this cause. And it's also very pleasing to see so many people literally on the floor in front of us today. A few months ago, I was privileged enough to go out to Geneva to attend a conference out there, and I took the opportunity to speak to people who have been demonstrating outside the UN headquarters. They've been there for 153 days, come rain or shine, and they continue with their vigil. And I was able to speak to the people and to say to them that their voice is continuing to be heard. The voice is continuing to be heard today in this room, and through the medium of the television. I'm sure the people in Camp Ashraf will hear that voice as well. When I spoke to those people, I pointed out that the actions of the Iraqis in that part of the world was not acceptable, and it was not acceptable for the Iraqi regime at all. So in 2009, when the security of Camp Ashraf was given over to the Iraqis, they promised that they would uphold the protected person status of the residents within the camp. By that summer, 11 people had been murdered after they were attacked with clubs and bats. And I think we'd all agree that is not upholding the rights of the people in the camp. Iraq, of course, denied that it was in collusion with Iran over its treatment of the people in the camp. But we all know that Iranian agents have been stationed outside and have been manning loudspeakers and shouting death threats to the people within the camp. In April of last year, the Iraqi government provided written assurances that no harm would come to the residents once the US handed over full security. But within hours of that assurance, 36 people lay dead, having been shot in what the Spanish courts have deemed to be nothing short of a war crime. So the question that we will now ask ourselves is, what is being done in the face of these transgressions? What is Baroness Ashton doing, Hillary Clinton, Ban Ki-moon and Martin Kobler? Each of them have got to say to Iraq that enough is enough. Iraq must abide by international law, and it must provide the citizens of Camp Ashraf with what they are legally entitled to, and that is their human rights. I want to see Baroness Ashton applying maximum pressure on al-Maliki. It seems incredulous that the EU should be providing resources to a government which is committing human rights abuses. They must ensure that al-Maliki carries through his international obligations. Ban Ki-moon and Martin Kobler must also play their part. They must not just placate an Iraqi government which has committed numerous crimes. We've had enough of the idea that residents need to be interviewed individually in a secondary location in terms of their status. Maliki is actively using that requirement of the UNHCR to create a situation where he can commit further crimes. And finally, as I know time is running short, we've got to turn to the American administration and particularly to Hillary Clinton. The US must immediately remove the PMOI from its list of terrorist organisations. The designation was created in order to appease the mullahs in Iran. And what have they repaid us with in regards to Iraq? Nothing but IEDs and the possibility that they will create a nuclear weapon. That designation by the American is an affront to the democratic people who are seeking freedom in Iran and Iraq, and ultimately is a political mistake. We want to see it lifted now, and we want to see EU countries taking the lead and welcoming the residents of Camp Ashraf in their respective countries. That is our aim today, and we will work on it, and will continue to see that it occurs. Thank you, Baroness.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed for your comments, for your final comments of this meeting. It's been wonderful to have you here. You have, of course, underlined very succinctly the comments made by Sir Geoffrey Bindman, that it is a political issue. It is up to us, the politicians, to put pressure on all the organisations, the political organisations that we know. We have to move in that direction. I want to thank you. Thank you all for coming on this awful day out there. Some of you have come from a very long way, and I wish you Godspeed and a safe journey home. And bless you for your support. Keep it up. We shall do so.